Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sensory Signatures.
Great to be here.
We're exploring sensory signatures today, which is this resonant art project by The Road Not Taken.
Right, it takes these really personal, emotional moments people submit.
And transforms them.
Yeah.
Using, ethical AI, but also a lot of human creativity.
Into something multisensory. Visuals, music, reflections.
Yeah, and a new signature drops each week. Our curator and researcher for this is Sean Douglas, who has a PhD in social psychology.
Mm-hmm. With a deep background in narrative absorption, metaphor, how stories shape us, narrative identity.
And today's signature, the one we're focusing on, is called Window of Release.
Such an evocative title already.
It is. And the moment submitted was, everything I held back for 6 months finally broke through, not as weakness, but as breath after survival.
Wow, that last part. Breath after survival. You really feel that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. That sense of profound relief, maybe? The project team honed this down into a refined metaphor.
Okay, what did they land on? Like light escaping through a frost-bitten window. What stayed hidden too long finally rising, even as its shadow remains.
Frost-bitten window. That suggests hardship, being closed off, maybe numb.
Yeah, period of endurance. But then the light escapes.
But the shadow remains.
Yeah.
That feels very real. Release isn't always a clean break from the past, is it?
No, it often isn't. The past leaves its mark, but that doesn't stop the light, the rising.
Right, the light keeps going.
Then there's the poetic snapshot, which kind of paints a fuller picture based on that metaphor.
Let's hear it.
A house stands alone on ice, its angles sharp, its silence too deep. From within, a glow pulses, not warm, not gentle, but undeniable.
Undeniable, I like that. Like an inner truth pushing out.
At last, the light breaches the frame, unfurling upward like breath long held.
Ah, there's the breath again.
A shadow clings to the glass, but the light no longer asks permission. That line, powerful.
The light no longer asks permission. That speaks volumes about agency, doesn't it? About reclaiming something.
Definitely. It's moved past seeking validation or being tentative. It just is.
It suggests that internal pressure, that undeniable glow finally found its way out, not destructively, but just inevitably.
And that ties into what the narrating identity questionnaire, the NIQ, picked up on.
Okay, what was the key observation there?
They called it a moment of contained collapse.
Contained collapse.
Yeah.
Interesting phrasing. So, not falling apart completely.
Right. It's the quiet kind, the kind that releases rather than destroys. The insight was, what breaks here is not a person, but a seal one that kept pain in and breath out.
A seal. That's a great image.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping pain in, keeping breath out. Wow.
And they link this to something called delayed integration.
Delayed integration, what does that mean in this context?
It's described as the slow realization that surviving isn't the same as living, that just getting through something.
Isn't the end of the story? There's a transition needed to actually start living again.
Yeah. Moving beyond just coping day to day. What might that look like, that shift?
Well, in survival mode, you're often constricted, focused only on essentials, maybe emotionally numb. The shift to living might involve, rediscovering joy, engaging in relationships more deeply, maybe feeling a wider range of emotions again, even the difficult ones.
A kind of expansion, then.
Exactly. Moving from being tightly wound to opening up again.
There's a future casting practice suggested with this signature. It sounds quite therapeutic.
Oh, tell me about it.
It suggests writing down one thing you've held back for too long. Fold it, seal it,
Okay.
and put it somewhere you can forget about it for a while. Until one day, when you feel ready.
You open it.
Yes, but not to relive the pain. The idea is to open it to see how far the light has traveled since then.
That's a lovely way to put it. Using it as a marker of growth, not just a reminder of the past pain.
Gives you perspective.
Absolutely. Distance can bring clarity. You see the resilience you had, the progress you've made.
Thinking about holding back, the logical behavioral therapy, or LB2 angle, identified a latent premise to transform.
A core belief, maybe.
Seems like it. The premise is, if I let it out, I'll fall apart. Which feels common, right?
Very common. That fear of vulnerability, of losing control if you let the emotions surface.
But the affirmation offered to counter this is, what escapes me makes space for what will sustain me.
That reframes release entirely. Not as loss, but as creation. Creating space.
Why is it so hard to trust that, though? To trust that letting go can be beneficial?
Well, often those fears are learned. Maybe past experiences taught us that vulnerability wasn't safe. So holding back becomes a protective strategy, even if it keeps us stuck.
So it feels safer, even if it's limiting.
Right. The LBP approach, gently nudges you to see release not as dangerous, but as potentially freeing, allowing space for something better, something sustaining.
There's also a connection made to the physical body with an embodied exercise.
How does that work?
It involves placing your palm against a cold surface like a window, mirror, or wall, breathing slowly.
Grounding yourself.
Yes. And with each exhale, you visualize a golden current of light passing through your hand, imagining it leaving behind a softer, clearer version of yourself on the other side of that surface.
So using physical sensation, breath, and visualization, that can be powerful.
How does engaging the body like that help with emotional release?
The cold surface anchors you in the present. The slow breath calms the nervous system. And the visualization. It gives the mind a concrete image to work with, making the abstract concept of letting go feel more, well, tangible, more real.
That makes sense. The signature also offers some thoughts on why ephemerality fosters patience.
Ephemerality, the temporary nature of
I
things.
think so. It says breaking is not undoing it, can be the final step of transformation, like exhale after too much stillness.
Oh, I like that. Breaking is a part of transformation, not its opposite. Like an exhale isn't destruction, it's necessary release.
And it adds, shadows fade more slowly than light rises, but the fact that one remains visible does not dim the other's ascent.
That's so important. It gives permission for healing to be messy, not instantaneous.
Right. You don't have to be perfectly over it to be moving forward. The light is still rising, even if a shadow lingers.
It encourages patience and self-compassion, acknowledging that progress isn't always linear. The focus is the ascent, the rising light.
Lastly, there's an action prompt, which feels very direct.
What does it suggest?
Draw a window. Inside it, write a word or phrase that once held you in, something that represents that feeling of being stuck.
Okay. Inside the window frame.
And then outside the window, write what you imagine rising now, what's emerging.
The contrast.
Yeah.
What held you in and what's breaking free.
And the suggestion is to keep it somewhere visible. As a reminder, you're not inside anymore.
That visual anchor can be really effective, making the internal shift external concrete, a constant little nudge reminding you of your journey.
It's quite something, isn't it, how one person sharing a moment of release can spark all these different layers of understanding.
It really is, and it touches on something universal, the courage it takes to let go.
That vulnerability, that breath after survival. It's not weakness at all. It's the pathway to something more.
It's strength. It's making space for growth, for what truly sustains you.
Thanks for exploring this signature window of release with me. It's a really hopeful message.
My pleasure. It's a powerful reminder of our capacity for transformation.
Thanks for listening to Sensory Signatures. We hope this gives you something to reflect on that inner light and its potential to rise.
Maybe consider, is there a seal you're ready to break? What space might open up for you?
You can follow the upcoming signatures on sensorysignatures.ca. The link is in the description.